Now, we have Judge Robles, and he's running for the third, let me put my glasses on so I can see. All right, the third judistic court.
Well, I served in the 3rd Judicial District Court for over 17 years, and now I'm on the Court of Appeals and running to keep that office.
Well, let's get rid of that card. All right, now, tell me.
I still got a smile on my face from.
Yeah, that was funny
That was
video.
fun.
That was really hilarious.
That was
I loved
fun.
it. I really did
That
love
was
it.
fun.
Tell me something about you. You know, I heard you had a great history.
Well, the best part of me is sitting right next to me over here.
Okay.
So before I say anything, I'd like to introduce my wife, Karen,
Yes.
who always keeps me going in the right direction.
Oh, we like that, don't we like that? Yes, yes.
But you know, I'd be happy to tell you a little bit about myself. You know, I'm a native New Mexican.
Mm-hmm.
I was born right here in Albuquerque, and I graduated from high school here in Albuquerque. Went to UNM, got my bachelor's degree, and I liked it so much I went to the UNM School of Law as well.
All right, all right.
And so I've been here most of my life. Mm-hmm. You know, I grew up in a working class family, and I'm the first person in my family ever to get a law degree and the second to get a college degree.
All right.
My elder sister beat me out on the first college degray.
Well, she was older.
Yeah, she was older, and she got it first. Mm-hmm. My father was a sheet metal worker, so we grew up in kind of a working class kind of family, and that's why there wasn't a whole lot of college educated folks in our family.
Right.
But my father got involved in the labor unions, and he ended up becoming a delegate to the National Convention that nominated John Kennedy.
Oh, wow.
And the exciting part about that is that John Kennedy became president.
Yes, it is.
And was a wonderful president that we're all very proud of. But he ended up appointing my father as labor attaché to the U.S. Embassy in Lima, Peru. Mm-hmm. So we spent a couple years in Lima, Peru, some of the wonderful years of my life. I had a wonderful time. And after that, my father became associated with the National American Federation of Labor in Washington, D.C. So we moved to Washington, D.C. Mm-hmm. And then we came back for high school, and I've been here ever since.
So you like as they say, grown up with politics.
Well, you know, I have, but I've grown up with politics in the right way. You know, I learned about it from the bottom up and how politics can be used to help people.
Exactly.
And I think that's what the important part of my education in that regard was. Mm-hmm. And it was really through that process that I decided that I wanted to get in the legal profession.
Right.
You know, I was young in those days, mm-hmm. and President Kennedy said something that affected me, and it's affected me even today.
Okay.
You know, he said you should not ask what your country can do for you, but you should ask what you can do for your country.
That's right.
And to some people it was just words, but to me it was the embodiment of what I wanted to be. And it was also during the time of a lot of social change and social betterment.
Right.
And I felt like, how can I contribute? What can I do?
But I think at that time, you know, we're in the same age bracket, and we all grew up with wanting to help. There was we protested for everything that wasn't right. We're out there protesting, out there fighting. Mm-hmm. Do you find that in the young people today?
Well, not in the way it was then.
Complacency, would you say?
Well, I don't know if it's complacency. I think there's a lot of vigor in the youth, and I think it's largely due to the youth that we elected a wonderful president in this country. Yeah. So I'm not willing to say that it's not the same. I'm saying it's different.
Okay.
There was a lot of change going on, and I think the change that we instituted helped the change that they were able to pursue now, and that's why we have the wonderful president we have.
Now you have 30 years on the legal. It says 13 years as a attorney, and then 17 years as is it the third judicial? I can't say that. Judicial.
Yeah, it's a tongue twister.
Say it for me.
Third Judicial District Court.
Thank you. I never could say it, so I'm not even trying, you know. My tongue is tied sometimes. But, you know, I am, now it says integrity. What do you mean by integrity? What is your, give me the definition of integrity.
Well, you know, integrity is doing the right thing all the time,
Right.
you know, and it has to, it's tied into ethics. And I'm a real believer that integrity and ethics should be the foundation of anyone who wants to be in public service. I was privileged to serve, I was appointed to serve on the Code of Judicial Conduct Committee as chair of that committee.
Okay.
And that's the code that governs all judges throughout the state, all the way from the Supreme Court all the way down to the lowest of courts. And it was an honor and a privilege to have been thought highly enough to have chaired that committee. And I strongly believe that that code should be followed, should be adhered to, that judges are in a special position, that we have a duty to be the models for everyone else. And so it's important to me.
It is important. Now, you were appointed first before you came in. Tell me about that.
Well, I've been appointed twice.
Oh.
I was a district judge after graduation from law school. I was an assistant attorney general, and then I went down to Las Cruces to practice law, where I had my own practice, my own business, and knew what it was like to have a payroll, knew what it was like to have employees,
Right.
knew what it was like to pay people before I got paid, and that's a learning
That's a learning experience within
all
itself.
by itself.
Yes.
And after that, I wanted a change, because I enjoyed helping people, but I felt like I didn't want to have to advocate for someone who just chose to come to me and get my expertise. I wanted to be free to just do the right thing. And so in 1991, I applied for district judgeship. Then Governor Bruce King
Right.
appointed me district judge. And I felt so liberated. I felt like that now I was in a position to where I didn't have to advocate for one side or the other side. I could just do the right thing.
Yeah, do what you know to do.
And I did that for 17 and a half years. I was a district judge in the 3rd Judicial District Court.
Thank you. Thank you.
And my fellow judges did me the honor of selecting me as chief judge for 9 of those years.
Oh, fantastic.
At the end of that, and I'd just gotten reelected when something got into me, and I applied for this Court of Appeals position.
Wow.
40 people applied for it. I went through a judicial selection process where they go into your entire background, personal, professional. They look to see whether you've had any criminal history, whether you've had any kind of unethical behavior as a judge. They look at whether you're qualified, whether you've done legally what you should have achieved. And honestly, I felt privileged and honored that I was chosen out of that 40 to be one of the names that was sent to the governor, and ultimately was selected by the governor to now sit on the Court of Appeals, where I've been for a year and a half, and I'm having a great time. And this has allowed me to not only do the right thing in one case,
Right.
but the Court of Appeals, we're the folks that write the laws that all the other judges in the state have to follow.
All right.
So it's an important position, and I've been privileged to be there, and I want to stay there.
It's not only important, but it's a position that has to have experience. And you have the experience behind you in order to hold that position.
You know, I'm glad you mentioned that, because I think there are 2 points that are truly important. One is judicial experience. I was a district judge long enough to know when a case comes before me on the Court of Appeals, I know what went on in the district court because I was there for 17 years and I did it. And so I know how to correct it if there's an error.
Good.
The second thing is that you need somebody that's qualified and capable, and having gone through the judicial selection process and been privileged out of 40 people to be the one that got the position, I feel as though that my peers, not only my peers, because the Judicial Selection Committee, it's half Democrat, half Republican. There's judges on this committee, there are lawyers on the committee, and there are lay people on the committee. So not just my peers, but the whole community was represented, and I feel privileged to have been selected as qualified.
Now, I'm not leaving your wife out, and I know she's hoping that I would leave her out. But if we can get a camera over, you know, I always believe behind every good man, successful man, there's a woman behind them. There's a woman that's holding the rear, taking care of the business so that he can go out there and take care of that business. You're that woman.
I'm that woman, yes, I am, and I am proud to be there, and I'm happy to be there, and I'm so supportive and so proud of my husband, and sometimes he lets me move to the side. I'm not just behind Bonnie.
That's right.
Sometimes I'm at the side.
She's usually leading the way. I don't know who we're trying to kid.
That's what I'm talking about. Okay, well, we've introduced you to him. Vote for him. November the 2nd is election day. We have early registration, early voting, and absentee voting on October the 1st. If you can't get out there, put in your ballot. Vote for Judge Robles. He's running for the, say it for me, well, this is Court of Appeals. I don't have to say that other one. Court of Appeals. So therefore, get out there and vote. Like I always said, don't sit at home. Because if you sit at home, your vote will not be counted. And the Republicans' vote will be counted because they're going to get out and vote. So get out and vote. Talk to you later.